So that's a step in the right direction. What we're having difficulties with are prior to 2007. And again, that's something that's going to be ongoing for a while. But we do know that the accounting that's taking place in the Chamber of Commerce as of today is complete and accurate and fiscally appropriate.
Great, thank you. And I want, again, the Chamber members that are here are all friends. And, if I'm asking questions, it's hard for me to ask these questions too, but I want to have it clear in my mind what we're getting ourselves into, what you're into, and just, please understand that we're elected to represent the citizens of the city of Rancho Cordova, and the Chamber is a business in Rancho Cordova, and, I can't think of too many other businesses the Chamber the city might help like this, so. I have been involved in the Chamber since, oh goodness, middle 80s, something like that. Off and on times, busy. Never really been on the board though. Gone to many, many of the events over the years. Your crab feed was okay, but your golf tournament was great.
Wait until this year's crab feed.
Kurt doesn't even remember some of those golf tournaments.
So, I miss the Food and Wine Festival.
Yeah.
And Bacchus.
Well, and I will tell you, Vice Mayor, one of the, and I tell this story to many, many people over the years. The reason that my company invested on Folsom Boulevard is because of this Chamber of Commerce. I went to a Chamber of Commerce event, and it completely opened my eyes about this community. Before, I couldn't have picked it out on a map except for the airbase. It never occurred to me that there was anything viable here besides Mather. And going to that Chamber of Commerce event caused me to go to my two business partners and say, you know what? There is something happening there that we need to be a part of. And we ultimately bought Mill Center, and then eventually bought and rehabbed Cordova Village. And the rest is history. And it's because of the Chamber of Commerce that happened. Because they proved to me, they showed me that there was real substance in this community. And that's where we want to get back to. We want to be the person that demonstrates to people coming into this community that there is real substance here, that there is important work going on, and this is a valued community.
Let me ask staff again, what's the break-even, basically?
The estimate for operating cost of a space this size would be $15,000 to $19,000 per year. Obviously, I could work with facilities to get it more exact, but just to give you a quick.
Okay, Martha will empty the trash.
We actually pay our own cleaning service.
15 to 19,000 a year.
Yeah. Well, given that, probably more toward the 15,000 and.
So which brings into question again with the subleases, how the city wants to deal with that. I mean, we certainly don't expect that to be a windfall.
You hope to recoup a good majority of your membership back. Obviously.
That's our goal.
And in a downturn in the economy right now, it might be difficult for you to do.
It's going to be a struggle.
Yes.
But again, we couldn't do that in a good economy without demonstrating some value. And that's what the plan is about, reconstructing the real value of this chamber.
Well, in our job, you have to look at facts and findings and figures, and sometimes you really have to, rely on your heart. And I do believe that the core group that's together now will turn this around and straighten this out. I still have a problem with not getting any money at all from you, other than $1 a year. So if there'd be some way that we could get, I don't know, $1,200 a year or something, just to
12,000, you mean? He said 15 to 16,000 fixed.
Correct.
Yeah. Correct. So maybe $1,000 a month.
No, I'm talking about maybe $100 a month. I mean, I rent a house. I mean, I don't think we need to make that much money off of them. We just need to break even as far as utilities and whatever our cost is, or again, the community council is going to be in there also, and they're basically, if they're combining through their grant, we're getting money out of that suite for part of it. So,
But I think we need to figure out what that, for that suite, what the costs are. And that just goes to, again, just bottom line, how do we manage our affairs as a city? We ought to be on top of these numbers.
well, this obviously has never occurred. So,
Right.
Yeah, and with them picking up the janitorial, the range would be somewhere around $15,000 a year is the operating costs when you prorate all the building costs and insurance and everything onto it.
so you would feel comfortable with $1,500 a month, something like that?
I mean, the reality, Vice Mayor, is today, as of today, I couldn't write you a check for $100 and feel comfortable about it. I mean, we need to restructure this chamber, and I need, rather than commit to more debt that I am not sure we can cover, I mean, if we need to restructure the lease, then let's restructure the lease to make it more palatable over a long term. And maybe it's not a 20-year lease, maybe it's a shorter term. I mean, that's what I do for a living. If you want to structure it in some fashion so that it's revisited in 5 years or in 10 years or 7 years, that's something that I think is very logical. Because with the idea that this chamber is going to work very hard to become viable again in 5 to 7 years, it may be very possible that we're there, but we're not there today.
One option as far as the term is this lease was a 5-year lease starting February 1st 2 years ago. So basically it's to amend the lease which has a 3-year period left on the lease essentially. So just throwing that out. So if you wanted to do something for the 3-year term by amending the existing lease, which I think I would recommend given we're changing whatever we got a contract here, I would recommend it get amended to whatever council determines.
That's a kind of a pay-for-performance concept, Dan. If the lease is amended to $1 right now, and it stays as the initial 5-year lease and is revisited at the end of 3 years, then that gives us an opportunity to look at how successful they are at restructuring, and then change the lease, change the $1 a year at that point. So if it's a pay-for-performance kind of a thing,
Beth, you indicated you still would need the $60,000 for operational purposes for the next 90 days?
That would allow us to continue to operate, with the vision on the future, to be able to make sure our staff gets paid, to make sure our CEO gets paid. Again, that's a thumbnail number, and we're happy to provide more specific numbers where that is concerned, but that was a thumbnail number for our day-to-day operations for the next 90 days.
Okay. Bob, your motion was to approve as presented? Is that correct? Okay. Pardon?
approve the package as presented.
As presented, that's what I said, yeah. Well,
Do you want to amend the lease clause?
I would go for that, yes. I don't know which way to restructure it, though, but I don't know if Mr. Cooley has any more comments or not, but...
Dan, I think the structure, with 3 years left on this lease, so if you do it $1 a year for the 3 years, then you come back and say, all bets are off, let's restructure a lease on a 3-year out basis.
Based on their financial capacity at that point.
I could live with that.
Yeah, I guess my thought would be I'd still like staff to take the starting point of trying to renegotiate that loan